How many of us have been disobedient, knowing we heard what God told us to do, but we're still trying to do things in our own strength? Which is part of the reason why I endure so much heartache and pain. I couldn't even blame it on him. It was me being disobedient and not letting go. You know how God is trying to let you know that it's going to be okay, but you don't see how it's going to be okay. So, again, you're trying to work in your own strength. And that's exactly what it was I was doing. When I say that I felt it in my spirit, God telling me to let go so that he could work it out. But I was being hard-headed. I had been introduced to God, but didn't have a relationship with him like that. So I wasn't aware of just letting it go so he could work it out for me. I was not aware of that concept. Knew nothing about it. But the harder I tried to hold on to it, the more it was just falling apart until I had no choice. I don't know, just talking about this story is just bringing me back. So, excuse my voice, I'm not sad or anything, but it is like bittersweet. The first thing God had to work on me with was it wasn't about him, but it was about me. And if y'all know that, boy, God will read you. I remember, because I spent a lot of time in my room. That was my zone. That was my space. That was my place. And I remember, like, talking out loud, looking in the mirror, to myself and as well as to God. And I'm just going on and on and on about what he did. And, you know what God dropped in my spirit? This is not about him. This is about you. What did you do? When I say that stung, and I just had to stop and think for a moment. Like, you know, we tend to think that if a person does something like, let's say, I'm trying to think of a good example here. Well, let's just say in relationships, sometimes the reason why two people are not together is because there could be cheating involved. So you try to get yourself to believe that because this person cheated, but you was just hard to deal with, that their sin was worse than yours. And it's really not. Sin is sin. And that was a lesson that I learned, that just like he was wrong in a lot of areas, so was I. And I was so focused on what he wasn't doing that I wasn't focused on the things that I wasn't doing, the things that I should have been doing. And it wasn't about him, it was about me as an individual, because at the end of the day, regardless if I'm with him or not, I'm with myself all day, every day. But when I say that Yeah, the Lord ripped one in me, but it was all out of love. That's exactly what we do with our children when we see them doing something. They don't realize that they're in the wrong, but we see that they're in the wrong, and we're just letting them know out of love, this is not how to be, because we want to see them, we just want to see them be at their best at all times. And that's what our Heavenly Father was doing with me. It really started making me look at my attitude, and it really started making me, and I'm putting this disclaimer up out here, I am not in no way justifying anything that happened between me and him, but I'm just saying it made me start looking at things that I could have done differently, things that I could have, to me, I showed up. I always showed up. Then it's like God was on me like, did you really? Did you really do everything that you possibly could do? Did you always have to respond to that? Did you always have to do it like that? Was there another way that you could have done this? So the shift was totally taken off of him and placed on me. It was like I was underneath a microscope, where now it was time to dissect different things about Tamir Cherie Lott. Things that I realized that I was doing way before he even came into the picture. So this ran deeper than him. I realized things that I was doing that was affecting other different relationships. Like, most importantly, my kids. So, now is where the real work begins. Ooh. Yep, this is where the real work begins, of me having to take accountability and responsibility for my choices, decisions, and actions. For me having to self-reflect. And I'm sorry, self-reflection is like one of the hardest things to do. It's so easy for you to point the finger at somebody and tell them what it is that they're doing wrong, but it's so hard to point that finger back at yourself and be like, ooh, maybe it wasn't them, maybe it was me in certain situations, maybe I could have done this, maybe I could have done that. So that's where God started with me at. But I'm going to stop right here. I know that's messed up. I'm leaving y'all hanging, but I'm going to stop right here. And then I'll be back tomorrow with some more.